Hey, y'all. So, because I didn't take notes.
I can tell by your eyes.
Erica and Killa, your two favorite ho-hos.
Hey.
So, as you know, we're on a between season break. And as per usual, we will not leave you with dry, dusty gooches. Mm-hmm. So, here we come. That's quenching a gooch.
That sounds so nasty.
So we're quenching your gooch today with a double dippin', which is
you mean like exactly what is it? Oh, okay. Season 1 episode.
Oh no, that's
1.5.
No, you were.
I was on the right track. Okay, yeah. So double dipping is, when you want that old thing back, you did back. Maybe you shouldn't have, but in this case, you absolutely should.
Yes.
We going back to old episodes. We actually listened to them again, which it's been a long time.
But,
Yeah, so we listened to them again, and now we have notes on how those episodes.
Well, someone has notes. So.
I'm sure you have thoughts, even if you didn't write them.
I have thoughts, just not notes.
Notes and thoughts. Okay. It's all the same. It's just I can't remember shit, so I have to write it down.
Whatever you need.
Yes. So this week we're doing season 1, episode 1.5, which was okay. I loved it.
This is why Kenrya wanted to do this episode.
Why? Because I love Leonie so much.
This episode was you interviewing yourself.
You said that at some point during the interview.
Because pre-production meetings. Is that what we call them?
Yeah,
pre-production meetings. We're like, let's figure out what we're going to do. And Kenrya was like, 1.5. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm listening to it. I was like, this bitch is like, this is the audio equivalent of Kenrya staring in a mirror.
What's funny is I hadn't listened to it. Right? I just remember how much I love her. And every time she pops up on my timeline, I'm like, I love Leonie. So I wanted to listen to it again.
Yeah, no, she's great. It was a great episode, but I was like, duh. When she was like, yeah, I'd go to the beach and read because I can, imagine waves being blue and pink and purple. And I was just like, yep.
Because you more than anyone else has sat next to me while I've done that.
Yeah. Yep. Well, okay.
Yeah. That never really occurred to me, but I love her writing and I love her. And I figure in season 4, when we did Double Dippins, we did episode 1, which, our pilot episode. And so I thought it'd be nice to revisit our first interview and see how things have changed.
Yeah, because it was very Bella Noche.
No.
So I always reference the Bella Noche, that video, YouTube. It was like, if you was beefing at that wedding, you should have stayed at that wedding. Because if you can't go to Bella Noche, where the hell can you go? So when we do interviews, Kenrya tends to be Hazel London, which is the young lady that was telling niggas, if you was beaching at Bella Noche, where the hell can you go? And then I tend to be her homegirl whose name I don't even know, but she just sitting on the side like, that's sad.
Shut up.
So I've gotten better at interviewing very early on. You can tell that Kenrya was like, if you was beefing at that wedding, you should have stayed at that wedding. And I was like, that's sad.
I hate it.
So, yeah.
Well, I do, but in listening to this, I had some moments that felt cringy for me, and things that I said or did or didn't. So this was before we started asking folks their pronouns, but I also didn't want to misgender anybody. So I started out, I read everybody's bio with no pronouns, and I just kept hearing myself say Leonie. But
didn't you ask her, what are your pronouns?
I did after the bio. And that's what we did the first season. I would read the bio with no pronouns, and then I would ask their pronouns. Okay. Yes. And then when I asked, I said preferred pronouns, which is not the way that we should do it, because and we've talked about this, like saying preferred pronouns acts as if it is some preference and something that you choose as opposed to just who the fuck you inherently are. But I didn't know that at that point. And I, in spaces where I was, that was what folks were saying, and I hadn't come to that knowledge yet. So like not judging myself, but like being able to see how learning comes in, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And then I said crazy twice, which is super ableist language that I never use anymore. So I was just like, Kenrya. Yeah. So I had those moments. Okay. Also, I sounded very peppy. I haven't heard myself sound that way in a really long time. I had so much energy.
How did that feel?
That's a great question. A little sad, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little sad. But
you're like, who's that lady?
Yeah, but I mean, what they say, don't be sad because it's over. Be happy that it happened or some shit. Yeah.
Bitch, that is either a fucking that's a quote from somebody.
Somebody.
On Instagram, probably.
Yeah. So
next to a Live, Love, Laugh poster.
Okay, now. You do you remember it used to have Live, Love, Laugh photo frames? You don't still have those? Because my mama bought them for me. Did she?
Like, it was literally because Judy Easter bought them.
I don't think I knew that those was from Miss Judy.
Do you think I would buy that shit?
I don't know, but I distinctly remember they were outside the bathroom down on the first floor.
No, it was because like it was more like mama bought them for me, so it was like, okay. Then like me living, loving, and laughing.
My shit. Some shit you found in Marshall's and was very excited about. Yeah. They were pretty.
Judy Easter found it in Marshall's.
I'm sure she did.
So, or at the hospital gift
that cost
gift station. But
she probably had a discount. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah. Okay. Well, anything else?
I said that's what's up too many times.
Girl, don't even go. So that's what's up. That's sad. All right, y'all. Sit back.
Well, wait. Oh. With all of that, it's a beautiful interview. Leonie is fantastic. At one point, we thought we were going to get off, and then she asked us a question, and then we kept talking for like another 10 minutes. Yeah. And at one point, she said something like transness in all its complexity and gorgeousness, and I just was like, oh, you and your words.
That whole piece where we were talking about gender, and I was just like, oh, this is great. Yeah. It felt good going back to that, and
it was really beautiful. So, like, come for the... I don't know what you come for. Come for the shit that we just laughed about, but stay for the beautiful, beautiful interview with Leonie. It was, one of my faves and a great way to start the show. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now, wine, weed, whatever you need. Enjoy.
Bye. Yes, I like it. Come here. Get on. Today, we're excited to have Leonie Ross, the brilliant mind behind drag. Leonie is a Jamaican-British fiction writer, editor, and academic who writes literary fiction, magic realism, horror, and erotica. Leonie is a two-time novelist whose short stories have been published widely. Leonie's novel, Orange Laughter, was named one of the most influential British novels of the last 25 years. Yo, that's crazy.
Whatever.
and you're the 2017 short story collection, Come Let Us Sing Anyway, which is where drag appears, has been described as remarkable, serially empathetic, outrageously funny, and unforgettable. Yo, that's crazy. A former journalist, Leonie is currently a senior lecturer in creative writing at Roehampton University in London, commissioning editor for Fitcham Press, and senior fellow of the UK Higher Education Academy. Whew, yes, Leonie.
That makes me sound like I'm not going to swear, but it's not true.
Oh, well, good. You in the right place.
Cursing academics, so yes, you got it.
So first, we just want to ask, what are your preferred pronouns?
She and her.
Great. Okay. Awesome.
Time.
Always want to make sure we get it right.
Yep.
So we just heard your whole bio. I just read it. It's fantastic. But can you tell us in one sentence what it is that you do?
Wow. I suppose I pay attention to small spaces and then try to recreate them. That's what comes to mind. Yeah. I've been doing that since I was a little girl, paying attention to small space.
That's what's up. So where are you from originally? You know, I said earlier you're Jamaican British.
Okay, yes. So you're going to hear a lot of weird accent things going on. And then I have this very irritating thing that I do, that when I'm in the company of people who have a different accent from me, I start creeping into it, which is just really embarrassing. So wait for that. But the background is that I was born in England. And when I was 6, my mother, who is Jamaican, took me back to Jamaica. And I stayed there till I was about 21. And I did my first degree there. And then I returned to England. So all of my formative years were spent in Jamaica. And if I'm among other Jamaicans, I sound much more Jamaican than I sound now. All Jamaicans tease me that when I lose my temper or have sex, I sound Jamaican. And if I'm speaking formally, I sound British.
Yes.
British people tell me I don't sound British at all. And Jamaicans say I also British people say I sound American. And Americans tell me I don't sound American at all. So who the fuck? But that's my basic background. There's a lot of mix. I suppose at its heart, I feel Jamaican more than anything else. But I think that's a formative year thing. You know, wherever you grew up, wherever you went to high school, I think as well makes a difference. So yeah, so that's kind of a positive shift.
So Leonie, where are you based now?
I now live in London, where I have lived for 20 many years, which is presently imploding and totally screwing up, and Brexit is driving us all crazy, and the Conservative government is driving us possibly just as crazy as Trump is.
I was about to say we might know a little something about that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want to assume, but I assume that considering you guys like sex, that you don't like sex.
Not at all.
So.
Yes, not at all.
It's the best assumption anybody's made all day.
Spot on. So
basically, that man has never given a woman an orgasm, and that's his problem.
Well, I mean, he's probably had them, but he's never given one.
Oh, no, definitely. I mean, it takes 2 minutes to have an orgasm, especially if you're a man, but especially if you're giving it to yourself. But to give a woman an orgasm,
that would require...
verb, but you know what I mean? To share in a woman's orgasm requires...
a level of consciousness.
None of which he has.
Not at all.
Exactly.
Not at all.
Yeah. I don't believe I'm spending the first 5 minutes cursing the president of the United States.
I mean, I feel like it's how we should probably open all spaces, so it's fine.
It's like an invocation of fuck this shit.
The best invocation of all.
So, Leonie, did you always know that you wanted to be a writer? What did you want to be when you grow up? Yeah, always. I mean, there was a period in which I wanted to be a veterinary surgeon, because I really love animals, but that was to accompany the writing. I think I always knew, and I was, one of those children who you'd take me to the beach and I'd sit down and be reading a book and people would be like, look at the waves. I'd be like, but there are waves in the book, so I don't know why you're bugging me about the waves in reality.
And I can picture how they look however I want, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. I can make them green or blue or purple or orange, so, leave me alone. Having said that, I really like the water and I like the beach, but I was that kind of kid. So I think I always knew that one of the best ways to spend time was to read a book. And then when I began to start writing, I always think I had an impulse I wanted to make people feel. I think that was my initial impulse. And when I began to work out that I could write things down on a piece of paper and make people laugh or get upset or be delighted or move them, or that other people did that, because obviously when I was a little kid, I just had ambitions to do that. I still thought that was a kind of magic. I still do. Like, when you write, you must know this, when you write something on page 49 on, section 3, paragraph 2, that's intended to make your audience laugh, and then you read it out loud, and wherever you go, in wherever you are in the world, they laugh at that moment. I love that shit. It's like, yes, that's what I wanted you to do. Laugh at that moment, get aroused at this moment, cry at this moment. Yes. Maybe I was just a control freak when I was a kid, but that's what I wanted.
I mean, who isn't?
I feel like, Leonie, I feel like you are describing my best friend right now.
Yeah. Tell me, was it like that for you as well?
Yeah. Yep. I have control issues, but I think more than that, I mean, this sounds sad, but books have always been just a really great friend. I mean, obviously not as great.
I'm about to say I'm a bad bitch, but okay.
Yes, you are a bad bitch, and the books never compare. But books have been my constant companion. I mean, I started reading really young, and I was never without one. And now that we have tech where it's just in my phone, I mean, it's everything. I spend so much time writing books and reading books, and they're just a comfort to me. So yes,
yeah, there's no question, and all of the research shows us that actually nothing does things to the brain like reading does. Nothing still. No kind of art form.
That's right.
No kind of orgasmic experience even does exactly what is done to the brain when we read. So yes, I mean, obviously we're all fans.
That's what's up. So as we, were saying up in your bio, you write a lot more than erotica. And in fact, Come Let Us Sing Anyway has stories in lots of different genres. I'm wondering what pushes you to dip into so many different areas with your writing?
Probably because I read so many different areas. I'm not and have never been the kind of novelist or reader that dismissed any particular genre. As long as it was well written within its own context, I was fine. So, and I've always wanted to be an accessible human being, not to mention a writer. I think it wouldn't trouble me if someone read my work and thought, this is challenging. This is, this makes me think. I'm not quite sure what this means. I need to go check again. That's all fine. But if I can't access your basic emotions quite swiftly, I think that I personally haven't succeeded. So, and genre writing is some of the best writing there is. So, I remember once, I think making some weird reference, this is years ago, to an editor that I had. I mentioned something about the word obsidian, and he said some highfalutin academic thing in response to the words. I said, no, I meant the Obsidian Order on Star Trek. And he's like, what? He's like, but you're such an intelligent woman. I was like, what does that even mean? That you can't be an intelligent woman and read Shakespeare and pay attention to Star Trek? I mean, popular and high culture, whatever that means. So I suppose that's all a way of saying that I'm interested in all ways of moving people. Complex literary fiction, I make an attempt at, and I hope that I can make a metaphor like the next person. And I'm interested in complex ideas and beautiful language. In fact, I love that. But I also want to be able to chill your bones. I want to be able to turn you on. I want to be able to surprise you. I want to make you laugh. So if I manage to do all of those things, great. And I wouldn't limit myself to any one genre in order to try to get that kind of emotional response.
I'm wondering, I mean, I love that you have never thought to, limit yourself in that way. But I'm wondering, I guess as a writer as well, like I write quote unquote serious nonfiction. But did you ever struggle with the decision to add erotica to the mix? Like, did it?
No. The erotic was always there. I mean, the irony is that a lot of people in Britain the few who know me, of that subset, associate me of being the sex writer, which is really funny because it's the smallest amount of the genre I do. I mean, as you can see in Come Let Us Sing Anyway, there are only like 3 stories, I think, that have any kind of, explicit sexual reference. But I remember trying to work this out at one point, laughing of all people with my grandmother about it, who, by the way, has read, before she passed, read everything I ever wrote, including the explicit sexuality.
We stand a supportive granny.
I love her so much for that. It's so totally wonderful. And I remember saying to her, maybe a little sex goes a long way. I've just become this kind of sex writer when that's not the whole story. I didn't have a problem with it. It just wasn't the whole story. So she just looked at me and she said, the thing with you is that not only do you write explicit sexuality, you've also injected your entire work with a sense of sexuality and with a sense of the body. And she said, you do that all the time in ways that I don't even think that you recognize. So she said, I think people mistake that sense of sensuality and the body. They think sex. So you're not always talking about sex, but you're being sexual a lot of the time. This note was my grandmother. And I'm like, yeah, I can go for that. She's like, you have intellectual ideas about sex as well as sensory ideas about sex and language-based ideas about sex, and then the sex. So she's like, because you see the world through many lenses, but one of them is human sexuality, I think people then get the impression that you're writing more sex than you are, or something like that. That was her view anyway. And I thought, okay, that'll do as a theory. That's fine.
I like it.
So let's jump into drag. I loved the story.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. I'm a reader, but not as much as Kenrya. And so this was kind of my first foray into erotic fiction. And
oh, how wonderful.
I was
you were a virgin.
Yeah, I was a virgin. So at 30,
I took care of virginity. That's so cool.
And I loved the story. So where did your inspiration for the story come from?
Thank you. I was thinking about this earlier because you also have to remember, I don't know if you've noticed, this is an old story. This is like 18 years old, right? So where the hell did it come from? I was trying to work it out earlier. It was something to do with, I do remember the first moment I thought about it. I was walking down the street and I was, I think as you Americans say, feeling myself. Mm-hmm. And felt quite cute that day.
Yes.
And felt very, very confident in my stride in that moment. And really began to work it and really began to think, I like this. I like my body today. I like the vibes I'm giving out. And then I began to think, just wandering down the street, the phrase, I feel like a boy, came to me. Now, this is not a matter of transsexuality or that complexity and gorgeousness. It was more to do with, I'm taking on a stride that might be associated with masculinity because it is so confident, because it is so unquestioning, because it takes itself so much for granted. And I remember thinking, let me play around with that idea. A woman who's feeling like a boy today, how might a woman who feels like a boy today want to be approached sexually? How might ideas, whether or not they're stereotypical or not, how might ideas of masculinity affect the way a man might approach her sexually? And then I began to think, I could make this into a story. So I thought maybe what we can do is come up with an example of 3 experiences a woman has with one single man who returns to her 3 times in her entire life. And each one marks a period of development. So that was her first period of development. She's young. She's 18 when she meets him. She's walking down the street feeling like a boy. And they have an experience that has to do, hopefully, with ideas of, with ideas of gender and masculinity and femininity. And she's young, so she's playing and she's really open to playing around with identity and taking chances. When he meets her the second time, it's different. When he meets her the third time, it's different again. So that's maybe where the idea came from. That was the genesis. A lot of ideas, a lot of stories come to me both in moments and with sentences.
So I'm wondering, the genesis really came from you, strutting. Are there any ways, more specifically, that you relate to Josephine? Like, have you found yourself trying on different roles to figure out your place, whether it was sexually or otherwise?
I think so. But I think my gift, just to backtrack slightly for context, my gift has been a really good sex education from both parents and extended family. It's not that my family doesn't, like any human family, have their own limitations or nervousness about human sexuality, but they certainly nurtured my kind of natural curiosity. It's a kind of family joke that I was so interested in sexuality so young and asked questions so young. And their gift to me was that they answered without any kind of shame, without any kind of guilt. I have to say that again. My computer just did something annoying. Sorry. Yeah, they answered my questions about sexuality when I was a kid without giving me any kind of shame, without giving me any kind of guilt. And so that created a context in which I then, in the process of working out who I was sexually and what I wanted, which I believe, by the way, is a lifetime job, just like writing, because things change all the time and grow. What I am really grateful for is whatever roles I've played, like the protagonist in this story or not, I haven't felt any shame about it. Pure, straight up curiosity and joy. Which is not to say we don't have issues. We wonder whether we're with the right person. You know, we have certain feelings about our bodies and so on. It's not that it's without pain or complexity. But sex as a pure experience, to me, doesn't actually have anything to do with what the body looks like. And it doesn't have anything to do with anything but its own gorgeous sense of energy. I mean, do you know what I mean? It's just, it's something unto itself. And an acceptance and love of sexual energy unto itself has allowed me to play with roles or likes or dislikes as they've come up in my life without feeling like I was bad or nasty or wrong, which I love. And I notice a lot of women and men haven't had the same experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes any sense. But
No,
yeah,
it makes total sense. I think it's a gift that they gave you. I mean,
they really did.
you know, so many of us are walking around out here, you know, broken in that regard, that we weren't given that space to be able to develop and to find a joy in ourselves and in our bodies and who we love and the ways that we love. And it manifests in so many awful ways, in hate and
And I mean, I've also been blessed because one has to be careful when you talk about this, to be sensitive and to be compassionate. But I also have been lucky enough not to be the 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 women who will have some kind of sexual abuse of some type in their lives. And so I'm really grateful for that privilege as well. It's not come to me, and it could come to me any minute now. Let's be real about the way that the world works. And so that also hasn't come to compromise my kind of unfettered joy. Jesus, I sound like an academic. It feels good, okay? It feels good, and I'm cool with it feeling good, and I'm cool with finding it. I'm quite sentimental about sex, actually. And sometimes people don't expect that of me. I remember once having a conversation, my girlfriend's going to kill me, but once having a conversation with a girlfriend of mine, you know that numbers question? What's your number? When you're in your 20s, what's your number? Now, I don't give a fuck about anybody's number, right? It doesn't make any difference to me. But she wanted to know my number, so we sat down and we counted up numbers. And then when we compared numbers, she went, but you can't have such a low number, because she had a higher number than me, right? So I was like, why? She's like, but it's you. I was like, what does that even mean?
I'm the sex one.
Right? She's like, but you're the sex one, exactly. And I was like, but that doesn't mean I'm fucking everybody. Right? This means I'm working with what works for me. And I said, you know, why do you have to bring emotion to this number? Your number is just a number. Right. So then she made me recount. She was like, okay, you're bisexual. So now you have to count the women, because we were counting men. I was like, okay. So I counted the women, and I was still lower than her. And she's like, okay, screw you. Let's count non-penetrative sex.
When did you brush past someone in the grocery store?
The number went up again with the non-penetrative sex. Exactly.
I don't even think I can remember all the non-penetrative.
I know. Truthfully, I couldn't remember. I was like, this is getting ridiculous, right? This is just not necessary. Now, having said that, in her defense, she was also joking. Yeah. It became, of course, a laugh. But just that initial response from her, which was, but I can't have a higher number than you, made me also think about the complexities of sexuality and how women are expected to behave when they're cool about sex. So therefore, you're expected to sleep with lots of people. I mean, do what you want to do. That's my thing. Yeah. Do what you genuinely want to do and what feels good.
That's what's up. So I have a question so people ask me this question all the time, and it feels like choosing a baby, but you know, you can do it. Do you have a favorite line in drag?
Oh my God, you should have warned me of this before. Do I have a favorite line? I will start looking for the favorite line while we talk about the things that are there. Crap. Probably. I'm really tempted to look at page 33 and just say a single crumb sits on his neat mustache, but that's only the page I opened.
No, that's off. Yes. You do such a great job of building that that frenetic, like every single bit in me is about to lose it if I don't do this in that particular part of the story. That was, Yes.
For the listeners, what we're doing is we're referencing a scene in which the male protagonist comes and finds the female protagonist who's having a professional meeting and whose client arrives, but he's masturbating her under the table. I love that. They're so, I don't know how they do it. I quite like my hand is frothy. Frothy is a good word.
Frothy is a good, nasty word.
Frothy is a good word. But I tell you what I really like as well. I know I'm choosing random lines and being irritating and not obeying you, but the moment I like is when she starts coming and the client doesn't know what she's doing. And of course, her lover does know what she's doing. And he's trying to cover it up, but he's also wanting to laugh. And the client's just shocked and thinks that she's having a fit. And the whole restaurant's kind of erupting and thinking, oh my God, the woman's having some kind of heart attack. And she's just coming. And I love reading that to people because, you know, whoever the audience is, they're in tears of laughter at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's silly apart from anything else, which is what I like.
No,
but it is supposed to turn you on.
Silly and so damn sexy. And I think so often we forget that sex is supposed to be fun and, you know, enjoyable. And we have moments where we laugh. And so that was a great piece. So I think
that's one of the things that kind of made me the saddest when people have fed back to me about this particular story, which is that they say to me, it's so joyful and they're not used to that. And I think, really? I mean, how are you people fucking? What? Why? What? I mean, yes. I mean, there are all kinds of ways to have sex. Of course, there are all kinds of ways to have sex. Loving and intense and dark and beautiful and all kinds of things. But joy, it seems to me, if laughter is too far away from the sexual space, I think you need to rethink who you're sleeping with.
Listen, that's the whole word. So y'all about to learn something about me that is very personal.
Go.
When I'm having sex with someone who I really care about, I laugh when I come.
Whoa.
I do. It's the best. I'm having so much fun. And the first time they were always like, what? Are you laughing? And then they start laughing. And then they get really excited that they made me so happy.
And are you sleeping with men? I'm just not assuming about anybody's sexuality. Okay, so you're sleeping with men. But sometimes men have to be coaxed into laughter so that it's okay, that we're not laughing at them.
Yes, you know? I've learned, I find that in my experiences, men take sex as a job, whereas women take sex as a journey. You know, women, we just want to enjoy every bit of it, whereas men want to perform and
I think isn't that because of what's expected of them, you know?
No, I'm sorry.
Like that. Yeah.
You can go, Leonie.
No, but I was just saying that it makes sense for a certain kind of masculinity. That's all.
And even when
it's like, I have to be good at this, so I will now try to be good at it.
Exactly.
You know? Right. And you think, you poor thing, you don't have to be good at it. You just have to be present, which will.
And it's hard to be present when you're stuck in your head thinking about, does this feel good to her? Yeah, all the time.
Well, Leonie, since this is our first episode, and you are, I lost my reading erotic fiction virginity to you. We're going to be talking about first times. So, do you have a first time story you'd like to share? Okay. And it can be anything. First time I tried yogurt, or first time I tried a woman, whatever.
You don't want me to tell you about yoga. I'm trying to think of what I can tell you without my best friend cursing me tomorrow morning about it. First time. Actually, okay, no, this will be a story that's a best friend story.
Yay!
And she will curse me because she says I have this wrong, but this is the way I remember it, whether it's wrong or not. I'm remembering the first time I met my best friend, who I have known since we were 10 years old. So that makes it 40 years this year that we've known each other. And this is my memory. This is not hers. So, it's fair for me to say before I say it that she says I'm talking rubbish, right? This is my memory of us knowing each other. We'd been at school with each other for a while and we'd never spoken. And then both of our parents were late to pick us up one day. And I was reading a book. I was reading a large book, but slipped inside the large book was some sex book. It wasn't porn, but it was something about human sexuality. That I remember. And at one point, it became evident to her that I wasn't reading the book she thought I was reading. And so she realized I was reading this sex book. I mean, it could have been sheer heights. It could have been some kind of report on, how babies were born. I have no idea, but it was something sexual, right? So then I remember us both having a giggle about this moment that she, because I was expecting her to be judgmental, but she wasn't at all. And then I remember us going into the bathroom. This is not sexual, by the way. She's totally straight. But going into the bathroom, maybe to wash our hands or whatever we were doing. And we used the loo and whatever. And then when we came out, or maybe when we didn't come out, but at some point I said to her, tell me something. Do you masturbate? And she said, yeah. And I said,
I'm like, this is a 10-year-old
conversation. We were like 10 or 11, right? And yep. And I thought on some level, I thought, this is my tribe. Mm-hmm. This is someone who is so comfortable with sexuality that there's no condemnation, there's no judgment. And that was the start of our connection. Again, I'm going to say this, my best friend would say this is a total lie, but that's how I remember it. And I remember thinking that I could trust her because this was the first time in my memory I'd said to another human being, do you masturbate? And they'd come back with yes. And
wow, that's so beautiful. Wow.
Apparently it's a lie.
I wonder what her version
never
is.
Tell with these bloody novelists. No, she just says it never happened and I'm a liar. I say she has a bad memory.
I mean, you are a writer, but I feel like you didn't make that up whole cloth, so...
I promise, I usually know the things I make up, even if I'm trying to pass them off. I promise you. The best I can do is say, to me, it is the truth of what happened.
Yes. I like it.
Put it this way. At some point, she and I had a conversation about masturbation. That I know.
That's so great. That is so great.
And she didn't condemn me for it.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're done. This was so fun.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Right?
So that's how you do it, huh? So how does it feel for you guys with the first time? Are you disappointed, or did you have an orgasm? Is the afterglow good for you?
Afterglow was great. I think you were a really great first guest because you get our brand of you get us. I feel like I found my tribe in you in a writer.
Seriously, this is the tribe. We could meet each other in Ohio tomorrow and just go to dinner and be absolutely cool.
So this was a great interview.
We are sisters.
Yeah, it's true. Also, I'm from Ohio, so that's the best place to meet.
I only said Ohio because I think I read that one of you was from Ohio.
Midwestern girls that have a love for a good casserole and and sex.
Mm-hmm. We didn't talk about food. Oh my God, we just talked for ages.
No, this was fantastic. I mean, we really loved this story, and I've had Brown Sugar, where this originally appeared on my bookshelf for years. Like, it's literally moved with me maybe 6 times.
Wow.
And this has consistently been my favorite story. So for us...
Wow, that is a huge compliment. Thank you.
It is just fantastic from beginning to end, and I love...
Indulge me in one last moment. Why is it that you like it? What is it about it that you like?
So much of... So I am the one who... I use erotica to get off. And...
Yep.
So much of it honestly becomes super formulaic. You know what's going to happen next. You know that he's going to talk about her pert nipples. You know that she's going to talk about his member. And it's none of that.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but
that's why I don't like, you know what? I'm going to tell you a secret. I don't like erotica.
Yeah.
Because so much of it is so badly written.
Yeah. We're learning that. That is honestly the biggest challenge we've encountered so far, is that I think Erica, you literally
promoting
just
good
said it.
erotica.
Yeah, you know, she was like,
because we
overestimated
found
how much
such
great
good
there
erotica
was out there.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, the world is just teeming with this.
Yes.
And
No. It's teeming with members and bosoms heaving and really bad orgasms that are not natural at all. And oh my God, it's a lot of it's really, really shit.
Yes. And drag is not that. And I love
Thank
that
you.
it's not bound by like the fact that, you know, she feels like a boy. I think that there are so many folks who have so many hangups and so many biases and all of these things that's not something that would even come out in their writing. But for me, I just immediately connected with the role play of it all and of her trying on all these different things, and that it wasn't restricted by gender identity and, you know, all of the crap that we put on ourselves.
I just think that erotica, like anything else, like any other so-called good writing, has to be writing of ideas. It doesn't, and a lot of erotica is bad because it so easily meanders into cliche and stereotype, and as you say, what you expect to happen next. I'm actually running a course in erotica, in erotic writing at the end of June, because I hate so much erotica and I want to encourage people to write it.
So please, as you have students that go through this course and come out of the course, we are always looking for good work, because by Black writers,
by Black writers about Black.
I'll put it your way. In fact, I'll go and I'll sit down and have a think. And not a lot of people are doing it. Even less people are doing it well.
And
but
one
I'll
of the things that I want to note
that's
about your
super
story is that it centers the woman. So often, so much of the writing is in the guy's mind about how he's pleasing a woman. And it was just our goal with this, our ideal listener, not to say we don't want all listeners, but our ideal listener is a woman. And so we want, I'm sorry.
Or femme, or
thank
anybody
you, Kenrya.
really doesn't identify as a man.
And we want to center those type of people. We want to feel, you know, we want to read ourselves and see ourselves reflected in the work. And so often we don't. And so this was just a great story all around.
Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying so. And just for the record, in case this affected your sound, I now have a cat sitting on my bosom, purring. So clearly she is blessing. I don't know how that's going to mess with your recording, but she's clearly blessing your first
blessed by the pussy.
Virgin journey, darling.
And it always comes back to bosom. So hey.
Always comes back to pussy. If you center the pussy, nothing will ever go wrong.
You're absolutely right. I feel like we need to put that on a t-shirt.
Please do. Please do and give me my 10%.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Got it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
You're really welcome. I wish you all the luck in the world with it. You obviously sound like two gorgeous, special, thoughtful, sexy women, and I love that.
Yeah, and we love you. Where can people find you and your work?
They can, I suppose the easiest thing for American readers would be to look for Come Let Us Sing Anyway on Amazon. You can find it on amazon.com and amazon.co.uk, or you can Google my publishers. I think this is important because they're a small indie and they need the support. And actually, I make more money if you buy it from them than Amazon. Fuck Amazon. So their name is People Tree, Peepal, People Tree Press. And they are the biggest Caribbean and Black British publisher. So they need some bigging up. So I would just Google People Tree Press.
Fantastic. And you're on Instagram at leonie.ross and Twitter is at Leonie Ross altogether?
Yep. That's
awesome.
Me.
Y'all go follow her. We're going to drop details to her writing in the show notes for this episode to make it that much easier. So
I think the other thing as well, obviously we needn't put this on the recording if you don't want to, but I think this is important for people just if they want help. I run an occasional blog called Dear Writer Girl on my website, which is leonieross.com, just that can be of help to people. And it includes someone asking me about how to write erotica really well. And there's quite a long answer on it. So if people are interested in that, they're welcome to go find it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. I'm so glad you asked me to do it.
This was lovely. This episode was produced by us, Kenrya and Erica, and edited by Ballistic. The theme music is from Brazy. Hit subscribe right now in your favorite podcast app and at youtube.com/theturnonpodcast so you'll never miss an episode.
Then follow us on Twitter at The Turn On Pod and Instagram at The Turn On Podcast. And you can find links to books, transcripts, guest info, what's turning us on, and other fun stuff at theturnonpodcast.com.
And don't forget to email us at theturnonpodcast@gmail.com with your book recommendations and your pressing sex and related questions.
And you can support the show by leaving us a 5-star review, buying some merch, or becoming a patron of the show. Just head to theturnonpodcast.com to make that happen.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon. Holla.